I'll service anybody.
Hello and welcome to episode number 43 of Unrelenting. It's September 23rd, 2022. Yeah, it's the second Unrelenting of the week. Wow. Can people handle that, Gene?
Well, I didn't realize it was the second of the week.
Well, yeah, we did one on Monday.
Oh, well, I guess. That's true. That's true.
So technically,
that's true.
Week.
That's true.
Technically.
Yes, but that was just a one-off. This is back to normal.
Back to a normal Friday. And I have to say, I am agitated. I am pissed off and remembering why I hate eBay.
Oh, remind me.
Well, in this case, it was because I sold a modem on eBay.
A modem?
A modem. Because, a year or so ago.
Who would buy that? That's crazy.
People buy modems. And I always bought my own modem up until the point that Xfinity basically extorted me.
Oh, cable modem. I thought you meant an actual modem.
No, a cable modem. Yes, I should say.
Okay.
Because who's buying? Hey, it's a 33.6.
I know. That's what I was going to say. It's like, wait a minute.
You too can connect to 1983 by.
It's 56K, man.
Yeah,
those were the days.
Yeah, 83 would have been more like 300 to 1200 baud, right? I mean, that was about.
1200. And 83 would have been 1200. 24, I think, was mid 80s to late 80s. Yeah, 24. We already had that in 87 for sure, but I'm not sure when that came out.
So, I mean, with Comcast / Xfinity, the extortion scheme to get people to lease one of their modems, because I had always purchased the cable modem.
Sure.
The extortion came to, well, you could lease our modem for $15 and we'll include unlimited data, which we normally charge $50 for. So you can either keep your own modem and spend $50 a month extra for unlimited data, or you could use our modem for $15 and the unlimited data is included. So, of course, I went to their modem and I'm like, well, there's no reason to keep this thing just sitting around in the cabinet. So I listed it on eBay. It was purchased. I shipped it out the same day. The woman got it in 2 days. And then I get, modem won't get past receiving. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Modem won't get past receiving. So I went through the whole thing like, well, you need to hook it up. You need to plug it in. You need to hook it up to the coax from your cable. And then you need to call your cable company and give them the MAC address so I can activate it. I did that. It won't get past receiving. And I'm like, who's your cable company? Blue Ridge. So I look up Blue Ridge and they support all of 3 DOCSIS 3.1 cable modems. This is not one of them. But it doesn't stop this bitch from reporting it to eBay as a defective item that wasn't as described. So we're going through the process now. She then canceled it with her credit card, which is the portion that we're at right now. I just sent her another email. Like, I told the credit card company exactly what I'm telling you. You are dishonest. You bought something that is not supported by your internet service provider. And now you're trying to get me to end up taking the hit, because that's the bullshit with this. If eBay forces you to take it back, you have to pay the return shipping. You've already paid shipping going out. So at this point, that was like $10 each way. It's like, well, fuck that. I don't want it even back at that point, because it was a $60 purchase that it's like
you got like $30 from eBay for.
Yeah. So this is the actual joke with this. And I just don't know. And I'm not saying I'm a completely vindictive prick or anything, but looked up her name, found her immediately. And on her LinkedIn page, it says she speaks 3 languages. Because at first I was wondering, is this just somebody who doesn't understand English and all of that? But it's like, well, no, you're not that stupid. When it's like I sent her the link to Blue Ridge Cable and like, here's what they support. This is not one of them. That doesn't make it defective. I would have been happy If she'd have been like, well, I'll ship it back on my dime and give me a refund of everything short of the shipping, would have been happy with that. But no, that's not how fucking people operate anymore. People are dicks. So I just wanted to vent on that a bit. Because really, eBay does not seem to protect sellers at all. It's kind of like, buyer said it's defective.
Yeah, well, what businesses of theirs? I guess you collected money through them.
Correct.
That's the problem. See, when you collected money through PayPal or some other service, it is none of eBay's business whether it's defective or not.
Yeah.
But now they're in control of the money, so they just pull it right back out of your account.
Well, this is the interesting thing because it is literally, this was so quick that eBay had never actually paid out on it because it takes eBay a couple of days to pay out.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like we ever got it, but it used to be PayPal and I got it because there was always.
Well, you could sue eBay.
Yes. With PayPal, there was always a balance where they can take it from. eBay, their new system, they just deposit this shit directly into your checking account, which
you gave them your checking account? Oh my God.
The only way you can sell stuff. Why would you
use eBay? I mean, at this point, what's the point?
At this point, probably not, because that's where the eyeballs are. I mean, that's still, what are the options other than eBay?
The only place I've sold shit lately has been on Craigslist.
Is that still around?
Way more eyeballs than eBay.
Interesting. Now
people actually show up and pick stuff up.
Well, yeah, see, I don't want to deal with that.
I'd rather deal with that than packing it up and driving it to the post office. Fuck that shit.
Well, the post office will pick shit up at your house, too. But the point there is still the only way to go is to do something like crypto payments that people can't just jack it back. But people are dicks. That's the main thing.
I mean, you used to just make sure that right on there it says all sales final.
Well, it does. And you can still choose. That's the hilarious part of eBay's fucking policies is that you can still list an auction as no returns, but that does not exempt it from defective, not as described. And that's what all these fucking assholes do when they have buyer's remorse. They never admit, I'm a fucking reject who ordered something that I can't use. No, it's, it was defective.
Mm-hmm.
People are assholes. That's the bottom line here. People
are assholes. Yeah, well. People buying used shit certainly are.
This is breaking news. People are assholes.
Mm-hmm. How old are you? You just discovered this?
I'm like, at least it's good show content. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yes. I feel like we're on Planet Rage now.
Kind of. It would be a good rage. I might have to research.
Redo it.
I might have to recycle the whole rage for that. Because you're right. It is. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We'll see what happens over the weekend, if anything. But I thought it was interesting because it seems that eBay had opened up the dispute and it was immediately closed because the bitch didn't even want to deal with eBay. She just went to her credit card. And I think once you go to the credit card, eBay's like, well, we can't do anything because she's keeping payment from us now. So once it goes.
Well, once it goes to the credit card, you absolutely can do something. In fact, if something is not defective, then the credit card company will not only will they still charge the person, but they're gonna lower not their credit score, but essentially they're gonna give them one of a limited number of "you lie, bitch."
Yes, which is what
comments in there.
Which is what I'm hoping. I actually think I might be better off now that she went to the credit card. But here was the craziest thing to me because it went to the credit card.
Mm-hmm.
eBay gives you a page that says, well, you have the ability to respond, which of course I did, explaining exactly what happened.
Then you're good to go.
Hopefully. We'll see where this goes. But I feel bad for anybody that is not tech savvy in the least because the eBay system, the way this was set up to get your case to the credit card company, they accept one uploaded file that is a JPEG or a PNG file. You have
not even a PDF.
No. So you have to make your case in one image file that's under 1.5 megabytes, which isn't hard unless you're including photographs. But I know my parents wouldn't know how to do this. Would most people know? Well, I have to go into some kind of text editor. I have to go into even Microsoft Word, whatever it is, type out the case, and then save it to an image file.
That is goofy, but also those same people wouldn't know how to set up a cable modem.
I would agree with that. And that was, she kept coming back with, my cable company told me to buy a DOCSIS 3.1. I'm like, well, this is a DOCSIS 3.1, but again, look at their list. It's not there.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is what they told me to buy, so it must be defective. I don't know why she sounds like Joe Walsh, but in my mind, she does.
Yeah, she sounds retarded.
Yeah, kind of. Well, then that's kind of what I was getting from her until I looked her up and found her LinkedIn and said she works for a medical billing company and speaks 3 languages as a translator.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
well, if you were really vindictive, you would then figure out how to get a procedure done that's billed through that billing company. And then claim that it was billed incorrectly and the employee that helped you was this person.
Yeah.
And you're going to be filing a class action lawsuit against the company unless they fire her.
Not a bad idea.
I mean, if you were vindictive,
right?
Not most people wouldn't go to that trouble.
To that length to recover.
But I do know a few people that would.
Well,
you can, for $60, that's pretty much worth making her life a complete ruin at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just admit you're being the asshole. That's all. I would have taken the return as long as you would have paid return shipping on it. I would have even taken the hit on the shipping going out, the $10, and call it a life lesson.
I mean, when I bought stuff that didn't work on eBay, I was pissed, but I just threw it away.
Yeah, well, and if you realize, I mean, if it's totally defective and you got scammed, that's one thing. But if you realize you made the mistake, then what a rational person does is just relist it on eBay themselves and get what they can for it. Sell it to somebody else because it's a functioning, working item. If you were willing to pay the $60, somebody else will too.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, that's the whole thing. It's like, just, oh no, it's not functioning. It's like, no. But I mean, I'm hoping that whoever gets this image file at the credit card can read it and go, well, yeah, this is obvious what happened because I included all of the correspondence with the woman. And the minute she said her cable company was Blue Ridge, one that I had never heard of. But once I looked it up, it was like, well, here's their list. I found their list of supported modems within like 5 seconds. This modem's not on there. That's why it's not working.
And by the way, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to support any DOCSIS 3.1 modem. They're clearly just trying to make it super simple for themselves by only supporting a few brands.
Right. Well, because with the cable modems, again, I'm not.
But also, I can't believe you're selling something that cheap. I've thrown away every cable modem because it's just not worth fucking with.
Yeah, I had another one. I had another one that was selling for like $15 on eBay, and that's it. It gets thrown out or it gets donated. There's a little resale shop here, so if somebody can buy it for $5 and be happy with it, supports the local animal shelter, I feel good. My wife and I have dropped off carloads of stuff. Not all, but I would say 90.
I'm going to start shipping stuff to you.
Right. You just take it to.
So you can drop it off of your local shop because I throw shit like that in the trash.
It's a good idea. I mean, we had carloads because about 90% of the stuff that I got for free on Amazon to do a review of, about 90% of that went to this place that's like not worth selling. And my cutoff is always like $50. I'm like, if it's under $50, the hassle of selling it on eBay is not worth it. This was slightly higher. If this was $60, I got burned. You see,
man, I'm at like 200.
I need to raise that level. I do.
Yeah, you do.
And because again, you get no good vibes out of it. It's like you're just trying to help somebody out and be like, hey, I can save you some money. This is a good product. I just don't need it.
Yeah.
But then again, it comes right back to people are dicks and you can't even rationally have a conversation with them.
You could also try selling it on Amazon.
There is that. I don't know if that's any better.
They do used.
Then, of course, you have like Facebook Marketplace and all of this. I don't like any of the.
Well, Amazon wouldn't charge you $10 to ship it back. They just tell the person don't bother shipping it back.
They would be like, take some,
and then you're just out.
Or right, forget about it.
Yeah, that's how it works in Amazon land.
Now, for
Hey,
things.
so speaking of Amazon,
You have your products on Amazon now?
I just paid the last chunk of the money
Ooh, what a segue this is.
last night.
To your handlers or to Amazon? Do you have to pay to like be an Amazon? Do you have to like rent space from them? How does that work?
Neither to China.
Oh, so you said, okay.
And
Not Russia? You're not buying this stuff direct from Moscow?
no, this is not coming from Moscow. No, and got the note. So I'm getting each box is about 60 pounds, and I'm getting 14 boxes coming in.
That's like a pallet.
So I'm like, yay. Time to make some space in the garage, I guess.
I was saying, wait, this is coming directly from China to your house? You're not just dropping this right to Amazon. You have to process this at home?
No, this is all a learning opportunity. So it's the first product I'm doing on Amazon. So, and by the way, Amazon will not accept large quantities when it's a brand new product. They're probably going to, at best, take one box of this stuff.
They're like,
and then as the
Gene,
sales start coming in, then they're going to ramp that up.
So you're going to be running a little business right out of your garage. It's going to be a little mom and pop shop.
Yeah, I'm going to be selling. Yeah, exactly. Nuclear attack supplies out of the garage.
That's a good idea. Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Gene's Nuclear Attack Emporium.
Are you selling radium or
get your stuff while it's hot?
Very hot.
You're not hot.
Well, that's it. Usually sell it out of your trunk then, not your garage if it's hot.
Oh, well, you know.
Drive up and down
it'll be in the garage in the trunk. But yeah, it's I all kidding aside, I do have to make some space because I'm like, shit, man, I didn't think it'd be that many boxes, but I guess it is.
You have a bumper sticker on your car now that says honk if you're a prepper?
No, that's a good I bet you somebody sells that already. That sounds like exactly the kind of bumper sticker you'd see.
And they honk, and then you're like, well, let's pull over. I got some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy it right here, right now, out of my.
Hey, how much water you got in the car? How many days of water are you carrying on you?
Right, you got to be prepared.
It's the prepper equivalent of a challenge coin. How many gallons of water you got in here in the car? I got 64 gallons. Oh, you win. Fuck.
You are going to have an interesting experience. So I can feel this with this Amazon.
Oh, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward. And remember, this is just the first product. There's a whole slew.
How many SKUs are coming in? This is one SKU.
This is all one SKU.
Okay, so it's an easy then with Amazon. Is somebody else selling this on Amazon? Will just add this onto a page, or is this going to be whole? This will be branded under your nice, which is the way to go.
Yep.
Because otherwise, you're competing on price with every moron on Amazon.
Yeah. Now, luckily, I've got a business partner who's never done anything on Amazon either. But
this is going to work out really well then.
I know, right? But the cool thing is, at least there's somebody going to be kind of paying attention to some stuff.
Yeah. Now, when you first want to list this item, what is the procedure you have to go through with Amazon to be a seller? Is this just a really quick sign up online and you're done, or is it more invasive as far as what they want from you, as far as ID and social security numbers and all that?
Oh, there's plenty of stuff they want. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they got to do business. They want to know who they're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes, because as we've talked about, we know they'll take a certain amount, and if that doesn't turn over, then they're not happy after something like 30 days if the stuff is still sitting there like it hasn't sold.
Yeah, it's more than 30 days, but they will not just hold your shit forever indefinitely, that's for sure. And that's why they also start off on new products with small quantities and then see how that sells. And then as the I guess it's called velocity of sales, once that picks up, then they'll accept more stuff. The ideal, obviously, is to be able to do direct ship. But I think I mentioned this to you previously. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was talking with my other co-host about this. But the one thing I'm doing a little differently on this is I'm getting the product air shipped. So I'm getting 14 boxes of 60 pounds each air shipped.
That's a little more expensive than putting it on a container ship.
It's a lot more expensive. Oh, it's goddamn, it's more expensive. Are you kidding?
So how are you going to be able to compete in the price wars?
I'm not.
So you're just going to have to jack the prices right up.
Prices are going to be insanely jacked up. But that's why I'm counting on all the No Agenda listeners to be customers.
To pay the inflated prices just so...
But you know what? You get to have your nuclear stuff right now instead of after the nuclear attack.
I can't wait for the YouTube video. Hey, I'm Sir Gene. Let me tell you about my side hustle where I made $8,000 doing nothing but jacking up the prices.
Exactly. Well, the last side hustle I made, I tripled my money by buying rubles.
Well, that wasn't a bad idea. You did it at the right time.
That was a very good idea. Absolutely.
When crypto was crashing, when everybody was like, buy Bitcoin, Gene's like, no, fuck that, buy rubles.
Mm-hmm.
And the rubles have outperformed, if I'm not mistaken.
Outperformed every stock and everything I got. Yeah.
Because, Russia bad. Do not invest in that country.
Right. Yeah, and then my buddies, of course, were like, "Oh, so you're war profiteer now? Great, awesome." But hey, we're not at war with Russia. What are you talking about?
No, you're not. You're not Ukrainian, so you're fine.
We're not officially at war with Russia.
Well, are we officially anything in this country right now?
I don't even know how to answer that, man.
No, I don't know.
I guess we are officially designated 50% of the country as being domestic terrorists by Biden now.
Well, this is true because the FBI needs to focus on that.
Yeah, the FBI, and that's why I was listening to Tim Pool before, coming on this show. So,
why would you listen to Tim Pool? He doesn't do anything but regurgitate news that's available.
That's exactly what I was looking forward to. Some good news regurgitation happening. And they talked about there's now 22 FBI whistleblowers.
Yes. Well, yeah, it's been 22 for a while.
They're talking about how the FBI essentially either entrapped or retroactively changed laws in order to ensure that they have the greatest number of January 6th people to go after.
Well, and it seems like they're spreading this around. So if somebody came from Portland, Oregon to the Capitol that day, well, that's opened as a domestic violent extremism case in Portland. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. And they're taking time away. They're taking resources away, more than time. Well, both from cases, child sexploitation, all that kind of stuff.
But they're not against that anymore. Didn't you know?
Yeah, that's not a big deal because it's all political. The FBI has become so politicized. That's what this is.
But it's always been politicized. Come on.
But
it's created as a political tool.
The only reason the fucking attorney general of New York State is going after Trump and his family is because the governor looks like she might lose. And it's all another political ploy to go. It's like, how many times can you go cry wolf?
Well, that's literally a plot line right out of that Paul Giamatti TV show, Billions.
Really? I've never watched Billions. I should.
Oh, you'd enjoy Billions. It's all about New York going after a billionaire.
Well, there you go. So they have they have a script ready for the whole.
They have 4 seasons. Last season was really crappy, but the seasons all before that were pretty good.
But that's obvious what this is because when an attorney general of a state comes out and declines to actually put charges out there on a criminal level, but sends it right to a civil court, they have no case.
Yep.
It's obvious.
Yep.
But
they're clawing at air here.
Well, that's a good way to put it. They've got nothing. They're crying wolf. They're doing it over and over again because it worked somewhat in the past. And that's all they've got. It's like if they were able, with the amount of resources and the amount of time they put trying to take Trump down, the fact that they haven't actually found anything legit yet, even like a jaywalking ticket, they have found nothing.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
This is probably the most dangerous thing. I mean, I know there's a lot of bad stuff that comes from bad politicians. It costs people a lot of money in tax dollars. It costs a lot of money when politicians waste money on spending. But this, I think, is the most dangerous thing when the law enforcement agencies have become politicized. That's beyond insane.
Yep. Not what do you do? There shouldn't be an FBI to begin with.
Well, there shouldn't be an IRS
the powers. Well, that's true too. But the federal powers are very limited by the Constitution, and it is insane how huge the federal government has grown.
Hey, if everybody just worked for the federal government, everybody would be happy.
Well, I'm pretty sure people that work for them are pretty happy. Yeah. Ask your wife.
Well, not the federal government, local. I mean,
local government. That's much better. Yes,
it is. Right. It's a little less corrupt, slightly.
In Chicago, yes. Indeed,
outside of Chicago, yes, indeed. It's not in Chicago. That's. I mean, the suburbs the suburbs are kind of like the low end. We're kind of like the single A teams.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Chicago, they're like a AAA in corruption. Now, when you get to the federal level, that's the big leagues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the All-Stars there.
Yeah, right. This is not, the All-Star, the Pro Bowl, whatever that is when you get to the top of your game.
That is the big leagues.
But it's all political, and you'll see this. Now, I don't know if Donald Trump is going to run or if Donald Trump's not going to run.
I hope he doesn't run.
I do,
we just don't need to get bogged down in all this crap, man.
Well, I've
said this from day one.
But this is my point. This is my point. If Donald Trump says today he's not going to run, every bit of effort that's going against Donald Trump right now turns to DeSantis. Because, assuming he's going to be the next Republican runner, it doesn't matter that it's Donald Trump. They did the same kind of crap to George W. Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Any Republican gets the same treatment.
Yep.
And I don't understand how people don't recognize that yet. It makes no sense.
Yeah. And then that transvestite Republican.
That transvestite Republican, which...
Yeah, named of Lindsey.
Oh, Lindsey Graham.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I did some great No Agenda art 2 years ago, maybe, or so, with him dressed like the Queen.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. So apparently Queen Lindsey is pushing through a bill to have an abortion bill, which is interesting because the challenge to Roe v. Wade, the successful challenge to it on the conservative side, has basically been a states' rights issue. So it makes complete sense that Lindsey Graham would now be pushing in federal legislation around abortion.
Right, because we can't let the states have their own.
No, God forbid. No, we got to have a federal law around abortion.
Well, and they've been pulling support for this kind of stuff for a long time, because on the face of it, a lot of it kind of makes sense. Like when the drinking age was 18 in Wisconsin and 21 in Illinois, as it was when I was growing up. What was it in Minnesota?
It was 18, and then it changed in 1986, maybe.
Right. I think that's when everybody went to 21.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things.
That.
So it was still, you had the lower
age.
People
that were 17 when it changed couldn't drink for another 3 years.
That had to suck.
Yeah. Right.
But that was the law when I was growing up. There were people like, hey, if you want to go parties, then we just go up to Wisconsin and you could legally drink. I mean, that was before I was 18, but it was.
Well, Wisconsin, they give beer to kids in school. So I don't see how that's a
hey there
thing.
Have a LeBlat's and a big block of cheese.
There. Oh, yeah. I once worked for one of those companies once.
Over by there, what, LeBlat's or a cheese company?
Yeah, it was over in La Crescent. What was the company?
I don't know. Which company?
It was one of the beer companies, and they needed some help. And I was like, this would be fun. And then there was no airport in the town. And I was like, okay,
this is less fun.
This is way less fun.
But that was, I understood why that was an issue for the country. People were confused. Well, why is it 18 here and 21 here? It should be the same everywhere. But the reality is it's not the same. The people aren't the same everywhere. People in rural states that are majority, farmers, need different laws and different things going on than people who live in New York.
Yeah.
But that's because people are morons, just like the eBay chick. Just because people are morons, it's like, well, no, it's got to be the same for everybody. they don't understand, like, well, why, how could it be different from state to state? Like, well, that's just
different. Yeah, different. Because here's why. It's very easy. Is because abortion is an ethical issue, not a law issue.
Correct. As is murder. It's an ethical issue.
Murder is arguably not an ethical issue because murder involves two people.
And abortion involves how many?
Abortion involves a person and a future person.
A person from the future.
A future person. And I mean, it all depends on how or what the rationale is that people have if they're against abortion. Now I happen to be pro-abortion up through the first 5 years post-birth. So, because kids are annoying, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
They're just annoying. So I don't have a dog in this pony race, but for some people, abortion begins at conception because God. For other people, it could be at conception because of chemistry. But I think you have to, if that's the case, then just say that's what it is. Like, here's what it is. Here's why I'm against all abortion at any point in life. Right?
Makes sense.
But when people start to dissect it into, well, it's okay the first trimester, it's not okay after that. Okay, well, so the argument then is what? What happened? What changed from the first to second?
Right.
Because
Nothing.
I think viability could be a logical argument and say, okay, you do anything you want with a pre-person because it's a pre-person because there's no viability at that age. Like
right.
you can't extract a 6-year-old fetus and then have it develop into a normal human. As far as I know, could be wrong. This is not my area of expertise.
Well, it becomes a timing
annoying
thing. And then if you make it into a timing thing, you're right. Then the question becomes what has changed?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is probably nothing. It's just a compromise from between the two sides of one that wants it and the other that doesn't. We're like, well, okay, you can do that, but only under these conditions.
Right. But because of that, because it's not like this argument isn't, or it's not even the argument. This question doesn't even arise in case of murder. If one person that is walking around kills another person that is walking around, it's pretty obvious that there was no timing issues with, well, was the other person viable? Well, yeah, they were walking around. They were fully functional.
Yeah, but is Joe Biden viable? Is he fully functional?
Well, and there's where you can get into some gray areas. Okay, how about a person who's in a coma?
Right.
Are they viable? Can you kill somebody in a coma? I would say yeah, because they're annoying as well. Much like children. Somebody that's totally out of it, they're in a coma, they're not moving around. Your hospital bill is in the millions of dollars a year. I'd say, yeah, that's not viability. I would call it a post person.
It's another time where timing is everything.
So pre-persons, post-persons, gray areas, maybe get rid of them. Persons, that's black and white, man. That's murder.
I thought it was interesting. The young blonde conservative activist, or what's her name, Caitlin or something like that. I'm forgetting her name. The curly
with the long hair.
Yeah. She was out.
Hair girl. I call her hair girl.
Well, I remember when she got in trouble with her college. That's where she first hit the scene, was that she wanted...
They all get in trouble with their colleges.
She wanted her senior photo to be with her gun, and they didn't like that. And
bastards.
But she was out at one of these LGBTQ core 4, 9, 12 protests, and one of the women had a sign that said, guaranteed life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And when this woman was then called by Hair Girl on abortion, well, you must be anti-abortion. Well, no, but you're saying people have the right to life. That's your sign. It says that. What does that mean then?
Life.
It's like,
that's funny.
Yeah. And then trying to have that, well, that's not a human. It's a fetus. And then she's like, well, a what fetus? Is it a dog fetus? Is it a donkey fetus?
Who knows? You can't really tell at that age.
Right. Well, that's what they should have said. But the women had no idea how to answer that. And I love when people have no idea how to back up what they allegedly believe with all of their heart and soul.
I've only gone to a protest once.
And what was that for? Were you trying to get laid?
That was during no, I wasn't. That was during 1992, 91, 92, during the Gulf War. And I managed to have a sign up that I was holding that pissed everybody off, which was great.
Were you trying to sell weapons back then too?
It was, my sign said, "Make money, not war." And
see, that confuses them too, because capitalism's bad, baby.
Well, and so the Republicans tried to rip my sign off because I'm anti-war. The Democrats tried to rip my sign because I'm pro-money. And so it was a total win-win. And I was, because I was, selling buttons for both sides of the war while holding up a sign like this.
You became the most popular guy at the protest.
I was making money at the protest, bitches. Although I was getting attacked as well, but I was making money at the protest because I'm just trying to provide a valuable service to people that neglected to make their own buttons ahead of time. Well, they could buy a button from me, and I'll service anybody. So
okay, there's an ISO.
I was, I guess I was what I would describe as an anti-agitator.
You were an anti-agitator.
Because I was trying to be peacefully selling shit to everybody, and then making a fucking meme ironic statement back in the 90s about war, and managed to piss everybody off.
You're like, don't you get this? You both agree to a certain extent. That's the beauty of
dumb
this.
Fucks. I'm so far ahead of you and enlightened. Oh my God.
G of the Midwest boosts 99.99 sats and says, kids are annoying, yes, but it's up to the parent to teach them not to be. Sadly, Darren is right, though. People are morons. Yes, people are morons.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect now after your eBay experience, you're quite pro-abortion now.
Yes.
Because there's only way to prevent stupidity.
It is. It is
not have humans.
Way. It's like, just admit that you ordered the wrong thing. Why do you have to be dishonest to get your money back? If that's okay.
Well, it didn't say on your listing that it would not work for her particular cable company, right. So it's really your fault technically.
I didn't specifically look up every cable company in the country and see which one it would work for and which one it wouldn't.
Did you at least have something in there? Check with your cable company prior to bidding.
No, I figured people are not total morons.
So it is your fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should have been make sure it is on the accepted list. And I just think it's great when somebody wants to argue with you. Like, they told me to buy DOCSIS 3.1. Well, you did. And then complain to them because it doesn't work. Not me.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think the odds are that this woman's going to get another DOCSIS 3.1?
Very high. I was having that conversation with my wife. I'm like, I hope she orders like 10 different ones and just can't understand why they don't work.
Yeah.
Because she may just be that stupid. Although, again, when somebody provides you with a link that goes to your ISP that lists 5 modems that they will use.
Not a technical person. You can't just assume people understand.
That they can read a list? She's in medical billing.
They can read a list. Exactly. She's in medical billing.
It's
that
a list.
should tell you something.
It's not on the list. Do you not get it? If it's not on the list, it's not going to work.
But did your listing say that this particular modem was not on her list? No. We went over this already.
It's all our fault.
It's clearly your fault. That's why you always have to have that statement in there. Do not order this product unless you know exactly that it will work for you.
You're right. Do not order the product if you are not aware.
When you write a product listing, you have to think in terms of a court and how you would defend against the lawsuit.
How you're eventually going to have to defend the lawsuit because it'll come. If you're working on
like
eBay,
my product will have nothing at all to do with me. My name will not be appearing anywhere.
Oh, I thought your face was on them.
Oh, God, no.
I thought it was like your face. I thought they're taking the picture of Putin on the horse and like just putting your head on there.
Yes.
That would be the greatest logo ever.
No, you're thinking of the logo for my other podcast.
Oh, okay. So that's not the Soviet prepper logo.
No, that's not the Soviet prepper logo. No. That's the good old boy logo.
The good old Blues Brothers band boys.
Hey, why don't we have a cool image for this podcast? Let me ask you that.
I don't know. Do we need to make
show art? Do you know anybody? I need to find some friends that know how to make show art.
I mean, I know how to make show art. I don't know how to make cool show art.
Oh,
it depends what you're looking for. I thought what we have.
How about a Blues Brothers mobile with us in there in the vehicle?
No, what would be better? It would be you and I just in the Blues Brothers fedoras and sunglasses, and then like age that whole thing up into a logo. So you want it doesn't we don't want a photo. You want like a drawing.
I mean, we both totally a drawing. I like cartoony things. Have you not figured that out based on my avatar?
I have. See, Brooklyn wants to know if he can put out a product which would be the targets they use at gun ranges, but with your face in the middle. You already sell those?
Yes. I have sold those. In fact, I don't currently sell them. Not kidding. Here's the problem you're going to run into.
Because I believe you. That's the problem.
Here's the problem you're going to run into. I can tell you that I'm going to help this guy. A lot of gun ranges will not allow you to use targets that are or how do I say? The targets have to be nondescript people.
Oh, right. Like because otherwise
if they're actual people, problem. They will not let you shoot with them. And I've actually brought this up to the NRA on a particular gun range, bitching about it because I had here's the backstory.
You were shooting yourself?
I brought in a photo of bin Laden and like a full body shot back when he did glamour shots.
So like big enough to be like a normal range.
It's a range size target, and I posted up and I started shooting, and then the range officer came down and says, "Hey, we're gonna have to ask you to take that down." I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, yeah, that's against policy that you signed when you went in the gun range. I was like, "What policy? What are you talking about?"
Where is this gun range?
Yeah, there is no. Oh, this was in Plano, Texas.
Wow, Texas. So it's
right? It makes no sense. It's like, and so I said, you got to be shitting me, right? Bin Laden, you don't want me to shoot?
Like, what? I'm like, you don't like them terrorists, boy? We ain't going to allow that.
Yeah. It's like, are you nuts? How are you not? What kind of gun range is this where you're like letting me not shoot at Bin Laden? And they're like, look, it's, we just work here. Not our call. This is the owner's call. No photos, nothing that looks remotely realistic are allowed to be used in the range. So you can either take that down, put a different target up, or you can leave. It's your choice.
And what did you
choose? I bitched them out, and then I obviously shot other targets, but I did reach out to the NRA and said we need to take these guys off the list because this is some kind of communist gun range we got here. And as I explained everything, they said, "Oh, it's actually very common." So I'm like, "Fuck, okay."
Common thing that people do.
Yeah, so they don't want to get sued in case you go on the mass rampage at the Bin Laden compound.
Right. Okay, they're asking the troll, was this before he was dead or after?
This was before he was dead.
Okay, so this is like, well, sir, we don't want you going and actually killing Bin Laden. That would be bad. Like, and you're like, our government that's exactly what they've been trying to do for 20 years. No, this was in, it would have been probably in December 2001. Wow. And were you on the Navy SEAL team that took down Bin Laden? Do people know that you were a part of that team?
No, you mean the Navy SEAL team that didn't take down Bin Laden? No, I was not part of that team.
Oh, no. Okay, good. You were on the other one.
Yeah. I was on the Spetsnaz team that took him down.
Oh, exactly. Right. Russian special forces, or is it still like? Are there still Soviet special forces around that you're involved with, or
no? There's no Soviet anything, dude. That country doesn't exist.
Ooh, that's the best country to have is the one that doesn't exist. Because how will they find you?
That's a good point.
That's surprising. I mean, I guess I kind of understand they don't want people bringing pictures of their ex-wives or
I think it's an insurance thing. In the end, here's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
For them to get insurance as a gun range, they have to sign a multi-page contract. Somebody in the insurance companies said, it's going to look really bad if somebody ends up shooting at a real victim, like their boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, ex-spouse, in the gun range, and then goes and actually kills the person. Somebody will figure this out and sue the gun range, and we don't have to pay that out. So let's just short circuit this whole thing and say no human lifelike photos are allowed in gun ranges.
So what about
I will say this,
the silhouette that you could tell who it is?
Well, like a fat silhouette or something?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be okay. But this happened definitely in the 2000s, because in the 90s, shit, dude, we were shooting at all kinds of just photos. Nobody gave a shit. It was really not a big deal.
That was half the fun.
Your, ex-girlfriends, whoever. It didn't really matter.
It was cathartic, right?
You went and shoot. Yeah, it's like, hey, if you shoot your gun at a paper target, you're less likely to want to shoot at the real thing. Somewhere in the late 90s, early 2000s, that changed.
And because of most likely the legal whole arena becoming more and more prevalent with our rights being trampled on.
Yeah, I don't know those. Well, I don't know. I guess it's a right to have a photo. I don't know.
Well, now, if you have a large enough property, you just put your guns out in the backyard and you blow up whatever you want.
Exactly. You got a large enough property, you can do pretty much anything you want.
You can go out and blow up you can even go get mannequins and put faces on them. It'll be great.
Yeah. And I think the federal government just needs to stay out of things. The federal government, they need to stay out.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I'm a big believer in states' rights. Like slavery should be a states' rights issue, not a federal issue.
I mean, there's a long list of things that I would say would make sense to be a states' rights issue.
Mm-hmm.
And people can vote with their feet. They already are. You see how many people
they are.
Left
Look
New
at California.
York, California, yeah.
A million people last year left California. A million people. They lost a House seat as a result of that.
Well, we can just send the new migrants coming in there, but that's hateful.
Yeah, and they don't really, I don't think any of the migrants would agree to go to California. They know how shitty the streets are and all the people living in tents and things.
And yeah, and
stepping on poop.
Speaking of the crying wolf stuff, and you can see this exactly, like I said, the next target goes if Trump announces he's not going to go. DeSantis is the next target. DeSantis is already getting it.
Oh, he's already getting it. But, that's bound to happen.
Well, I loved that the migrants that he sent up to Martha's Vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, class action lawsuit. We're suing this son of a bitch. And he's like, I have signed documents from every one of these people that explained where they were going and why. And they signed up for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't throw this case out immediately, which shows you how, again, the judicial system also very politicized, and this is dangerous when your government's judicial and law enforcement branches have the government become you can't trust them.
Have you ever been able to trust them?
100% no, but I think you could trust the government a little bit more.
You can't trust eBay. You think you can trust the government?
Of course you can't trust eBay. Well, no, I can trust eBay because they're going to always do the same thing. They're going to take the money and they're going to stay out of it, and they just want to take the cash.
Yeah.
So I trust that system will always work that way, as you also then have to understand that it doesn't make any difference that there's a whole system set up that you could click, I do not take returns, because people will lie and say the item was not as described or defective. I think I talked about that in one of the other shows. This is why I was getting the tickets encapsulated that I wanted to sell, because at least that way you can't say, no, they were bent up or whatnot. But then I was thinking about it. I'm like, they could just crack the thing out of the case too and be like, oh, no, it didn't come in a case.
Absolutely.
If people are going to lie, people are going to lie. And I think people that lie.
I think that's why you need to have something that sells non-returnable things. Maybe this is a good time for an eBay competitor.
Yes, an eBay competitor with no returns. It's the ultimate.
No return. Just call it a no return site. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And maybe you get lucky, maybe you don't.
Maybe that's exactly right. I mean, you're not going to get top prices there, right? Because people are going to.
But scammers.
But here's the thing. Back in the day, when I used to sell a lot on eBay, they had this thing called reviews.
Yes.
And you would look if you're buying for somebody that had a minimum of 500 positive feedbacks, reviews, whatever. Feedbacks, I guess they're called. I don't know. Whatever it is. And, somebody's got like 3. You're like, don't trust this fucker. Not going to buy from him. And as a seller, it's the same thing. It's like you really want to encourage people that are happy with their purchase to leave you a good positive feedback. Well, because that's the biggest, that's the only thing you have that will tell people you're not going to scam them. It's the positive reviews. So it's too bad that they've abandoned that whole concept, because they shouldn't be, as eBay, the ones policing people complaining about not as advertised, because it's the reviews. Because that's what happens if you get something and it's sold as hardly used and they get it and it's like beat the shit, then you're going to post a negative feedback and say, yeah, they lied about this. But that's it. That's where your ability to do anything stops, is in that bad review. So that you can either sell this and scam somebody else, or you can sell it and be honest and get less money back. But you can't just turn around and say, I just don't like it. I changed my mind. Ship it back to the seller.
Yeah, well, it's even worse because
do that.
The reviews still exist. So I'm just waiting for the bad review from this bitch too. Just waiting for that. And it's even worse because eBay, when you are a buyer, well, you can leave positive or negative feedback depending upon your experience. When you are a seller, you can only leave positive feedback.
That's bullshit. That used to be positive and negative. People would leave negative shit for sellers. Took too long to pay. Was supposed to pay within 3 days. Never got it for a week.
It's insane.
Yeah, I left a bunch of negative reviews. And your default should be negative, frankly. And if they do something that's, changed your mind, then you flip it to good. But you got to assume the worst from people on eBay, because eBay is it's basically like you're entering the Moroccan street shops,
right.
And like in the Casbah. So your assumption is nothing is quite as good as it seems.
Nothing is quite as good as it seems. Sellers have very little recourse. The only thing that surprises me, again, is that once somebody buys something on eBay, you have their name and address because you have to ship it to them.
Yeah. Well.
And I guess people just aren't afraid at this point that people they screw over are going to find ways to get retribution on them.
No, I guess they're not.
Which, I mean, hey, doom on them.
Yeah, doom on them is right. And I wonder how many people know what we just said.
Doom on you? Yeah. I mean, depending if it was Vietnamese, is it?
Yeah, it's Vietnamese.
Yeah. Good old Demo Dick, man. I miss getting new books from that guy.
I know. He's sorely missed. He's, I guess I could reread the books that I had from him.
They were good adventure stories.
Because it was a long time ago that I read them. I mean, when they came out is when I read them.
Yeah, same here. That was like the only author that I ever followed. Like, hey, new book, yes.
Although I will say his business book kind of sucked.
Yeah, that wasn't. I mean, I read it, but I mean, I wasn't really in business at the time, but I kind of skimmed through it, and it was like, this is seemed more pieced together. Probably the co-writer.
It is. I think what it is somebody said, "Oh man, love your books. Hey, got a great idea for you. Why don't we just take these concepts that you apply to killing Vietnamese people and then apply them to business?" That seems to be like an awesome book that you don't even have to work on, but it'll have your name on it, and we'll split the revenues.
Seems like your angle. I bet you a lot of it was he was selling because he was going out and doing the inspirational speeches.
Oh yeah, I went to one of those.
And you get a free book.
I was surprised how short he was.
I know.
That was my biggest surprise.
Yeah, but you weren't like, hey, you're short, because then he would have just punched you in the throat and killed you.
Well, I mean, he was still taller than me, but no, he was. I always kind of imagine him as being, 6'2", 220, 230, and then it's not what he was.
I just can't believe you're like, oh my God, I couldn't believe how short he was. I mean, he was taller than me, but he was.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't. I mean, we were about the same height.
I mean, when you read,
I know I'm not tall. I never imagined myself as being tall, right? I'm exactly the average sized man.
But you're right. When you read the books, you imagine him as
he's bigger than life,
yes.
right? He just comes across as this big badass.
And
the reality is, and the reality is that it is just purely the actions that he undertook that make him this larger than life character. Not his physical stature.
It was his Slavic mentality of never give in.
Yeah, he was Slavic. That's exactly right. Yeah. It's too bad we have to exclude Poland from that designation now. But
never give in, never give up. Do what you have to do. Train, prepare, and go into battle knowing
you
more
bleed
about your
in training so you don't bleed in battle.
That's right. And
one of Dick's commandments.
And if you're not sweating,
you don't have to like it. You just have to do it.
Oh, right. That too. If you don't
God damn, this is great. Yeah, I'm just remembering shit from 20 years ago.
Well, see, at least
I lived by those commandments for a long time, man. I really live by that stuff. That's good stuff.
They did work in all facets of life. I mean, maybe you had to kind of change the.
No, I was talking about when I was in the Spetsnaz, but no.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
well, that makes sense. When you were out killing, if you were the Ruskies, who were you killing back then? Americans, Afghans. That's true. You were fighting in the hills of Afghanistan, at least in your mind.
In my mind. Exactly.
And really, isn't that enough in today's society? If you picture yourself that way, if that's how you much identify.
I think so. That's how you identify. Yeah,
as a Stasi war hero. Yeah, that's perfect because nobody can't say you're not.
Well, no, because then they're judging you, and you can't judge people in America.
How dare you? See, Brooklyn says Dick who? Dick Marcinko. Richard Marcinko.
Spell it.
Marcinko. Creator of SEAL Team 3. SEAL Team 6. Sorry.
6 with 3.
Why did I say 3? I don't know. It's double that. SEAL Team 6.
Yeah. Yep. And it was SEAL Team 6. And what was the other group that he Red
Cell.
Red Cell, yeah.
Yeah, Red Cell had the most fun of any military group ever.
Absolutely. These guys were insane.
Red Cell was the group that was asked by a admiral high up in the chain, if I remember correctly, to test the security forces at American bases.
Not really asked.
Well, true.
Put a T in the front of that.
They were tasked to go in and see what kind of shenanigans they can pull at military bases around the globe of the United States military. So it was kind of a self-check. It was kind of a,
they were security testing.
Yeah, penetration testers.
Yeah.
In actual physical penetration, not just computer stuff.
Yeah, and the girls couldn't turn them down. They were always successful at penetrating.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the stories of, when they would leave notes on the commander's desk of what they did to their little outfit. They
got quite a bit of reprimanding for, tying up a lot of
guards.
Well, not just the guards. I mean, enlisted guys, one thing, but they were pretty cordial with them. But they were tying up officers and leaving them because they're tasked with checking security, so obviously they're going to engage in activities that would simulate a real security threat. So when they come in, guns, drawn, and then take in the office that they're targeting, they would do what those guys would. I mean, they don't kill anybody, but they would tie everybody up, put bandanas in their mouths.
A lot of times, little notes just dead right on them.
Yeah, and then take some photos for proof. Maybe have some drinks from the officers club.
Had some liquor there, sure,
exactly. And then their job's done. That's what they're getting paid to do. That is absolutely killer.
How often did you use Demo Dick's Unoder concept? Unless otherwise directed. He's like,
Right.
that was every book. I think there's
Unless
at least,
otherwise.
yeah, it's like I went into whoever he was reporting to at the time. I went into their office on Friday at 5 and left a note, unless otherwise directed. I'm about to go start a nuclear war in North Korea. It's like, well, I got 3 days before anybody's going to see that.
Yep.
When they say, why'd you had no authorization? Be like, well, no, I left you a note.
Yeah.
Unless otherwise directed. Use that one with your parents, kids. Just try that. See if it works.
Oh, good old Demo Dick. Yeah, he's a good guy.
The world needs more Dick Marchinkos.
Yeah. I wonder how many more years it's going to be until there's another one in the U.S.
Another hero or another terrorist?
Another actual male.
Yeah.
Another guy that seems like he's larger than life.
Or another guy that acts like a guy.
Yeah. Like another guy that acts like a guy. A guy that has testosterone.
Yeah. And I have a new podcast in the works that's going to talk a lot about that kind of stuff.
Ooh, testosterone.
Yeah.
That's what the new podcast is called, huh?
Some gender studies. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll look forward to that. And you're doing that as with a grant from DePaul then? Or
No, I wish. I paid them enough money back in the day. I should get some money back. I mean, I think back, and it was already very questionable at the time, back when I was there in the late 80s and early 90s. I was a communications major.
Yeah, that's what it says right here in your dossier.
Good. The head of the communications department at the time was a lesbian named Jackie Taylor, who talked about how her and her partner were going to buy children in like Portugal, I think it was.
Right.
Or Peru, maybe. I forget. I thought we started with the P
countries. Yeah.
All those P countries. They sound alike. But it was already going down that liberal hellhole. Although it was quite interesting. I did take a women's study course, and I really don't think they wanted me in the course. But my wife was in it, and it was a credit. And I figured, hey, this could be fun.
Wait, was this before you were married?
Yes.
So you met your wife at a women's studies class?
No, I met my wife at a bookstore in high school.
No. A bookstore in high school?
Yes, working at a bookstore.
Oh, okay. She was a client.
She was also a seasonal help at the bookstore that I was working at.
Oh, hey, by the way, you are breaking up a little bit on my side here.
So they say the stream dropped to the Troll Room's reporting that you have been solid, so the recording is good. We'll see if the stream comes back.
Okay.
It said it dropped and then it showed something else. Are we back?
Yeah, you were just garbling. You sound fine now, but you were garbling for a little bit.
It's catching back up. I don't know. It's weird.
Is it your cable modem? Do you need to buy a new cable modem? I know a place you can go and buy one.
eBay. They have the best cable modems around.
They do. They have perfect guarantees too. Is if it doesn't fit, you return it.
Just throw free. Right. You just say my ISP does not allow this, so
it's
nothing
your
to
fault.
worry about.
Yeah.
So you didn't break up, so that's good. So this recording will sound pristine, unless it actually goes out again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's your microphone.
Can you?
No, I think that's exactly right.
Exactly. Now people are going to be like, "Am I having an aneurysm?" I don't understand what he was saying.
I smelled burnt bread. What is that?
Yeah, the burnt toast. You're probably having a stroke. Go. Go to the hospital quickly.
Good old strokes.
Yeah. Nobody wants them.
No. I gotta get some exercise. Stay away from the stroke thing.
Just get your blood pressure in check. You want to follow all of that stuff.
I gotta get some good blood pressure going today. I'm heading out to do some shooting.
Oh, what are you shooting today? I mean, like weapon wise, not like you actually trying to go shoot somebody?
Nah, I'm trying to print off some photographs here. So, yeah, I've got a few new guns I'm going to go shoot.
Well, you said you had one that you've been wanting to shoot for a while. Is that one on the list?
Not sure which gun that would refer to, but I got like 4 of them that I haven't shot yet that I bought that I need to go shoot.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah, I mean, before this whole like credit cards tracking your purchases thing kicked in, I figured it was a good time to get some gun purchases made.
Well, before it all goes directly to hell. I think the stream is still crashed. Let me reboot the stream while we're doing the show.
No. All right. It's it does go on your permanent record, much like everything in high school.
If you buy a gun.
Now, yeah.
It's like, yeah, because you can't be a law-abiding citizen.
Well, by buying a gun, you've given up your right to be a law-abiding citizen.
Well, of course, because, there are no freedoms.
Well, you're buying an implement of potential death, and therefore you're a potential criminal. But really, potential is not even a word these days. So
let's do a reboot.
But I need to go do a little plinking on some of these things because I haven't,
You want to be proficient at your craft.
Yeah, crafty is good. Sure.
Nothing wrong with being proficient at your craft.
So gonna do that later on today, in fact.
Nice. You can take some video.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of boring. It's mostly just nothing happening with an occasional shot here and there.
Nice.
I'm not going to the gun range.
Oh, where are you going? Or is it
buddy's house?
I was going to say, can you say where you're going?
Yeah, just heading to a buddy's house.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got a berm.
Well, that means you can do whatever you want.
Pretty much.
More or less. Let me see if
that's why I said I'm printing off a few photographs.
You have the photograph. I mean, you need an 8x10 of me. That could be fine. I think we're back on the stream. It actually crashed the program that I connected the stream with too. So something weird happened.
Yeah, I still need you to teach Ben how to do this whole stream thing.
Yeah, the dude named Ben, so you guys can go live on a stream, and then you can get a sub stream if you want. I mean, that's the beauty of this No Agenda. It's all on him.
I told him I'm not doing jack shit with that. I'm just going to be a guest.
Because the No Agenda stream is getting crowded.
Is it now?
Yeah, there's shows every day, I believe, now that are live.
Oh, that's good.
So it's not like the Wild West anymore where I could just go on anytime and
well, I mean, it kind of means that the programming director is now God.
He is doing a lot of that work, I'll tell you. But he's off this weekend, so we could just mess with everything. He's off camping.
Is it really?
Yeah, today's his birthday. Ryan Bemrose, his birthday today.
Oh, happy Ryan Bemrose Day.
And it's all right. It kind of is because it's also his wedding anniversary today. He got married on his birthday.
That seems like not a good plan. Well, maybe that's the one way he'll remember when it happened.
That's what I said. I'm like, was this the one way you know? Huh. Like, oh, gee, when was the anniversary? What? No, I don't know. So that's one way to remember.
That sounds just like him. You do a hell of an impression of Ryan.
I try. Now, I rebooted the stream, trolls. Can you hear us? Are we back on, or is this still... it may just be... Now, this would be a really bad time for the stream to totally crash because Ryan is, again, out of town. So, this could be a bad weekend for the No Agenda stream.
Well, I hear there's a couple other people that know how to fix it.
Well, Mark van Dijk. We would have to get
one of them.
We would have to get the word over to the Netherlands, to the lowlands.
To the lowlands, and they're going to be hard to get a hold of with no power shortly. So,
why? Well, they're going down. What's going on in the Netherlands?
Oh well, did you not hear? So,
what did I miss?
Russia has had to institute a not a draft, but a recall of people in the reserves. Have you heard this?
I've heard allegedly that they're pulling people out of their beds. And they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Well, I don't know about that, but they have recalled back 1% of the Armed Services Reserve.
Interesting.
And that 1% that they picked happens to be employees within the gas and oil supply industry.
Oh, well, that goes along well.
Because those folks are the most qualified, you see.
And yeah, now we're back on the stream. And thanks everybody for hanging with us on that one.
Yeah, well, I didn't even realize we weren't on this.
I know we crashed. We came back, and then I realized that because the program that I used to connect to the stream also crashed. When I rebooted that, the microphones had turned off in the interface. So, yeah, we had to turn it off and on again.
turn off and on again. Well, that usually does the trick.
Yeah, if you want everything to work properly, send boostergrams, donate, all that stuff.
So with the reserves coming out of that sector, of course, it does mean that the facilities may not be operating, and because their employees have all gone to war.
Is that bad? They won't have power?
Well, no, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, it does mean they're going to make a little less money because they won't be shipping oil or gas out of the country. But you know, that's what you got to do. You got all these NATO troops massing on the border, trying to start something up with Russia. So I think it's a reasonable thing to bring in 1% of your reserves into action.
Now, has anything else really been changing over in the theater, as they say, of the Russia and Ukraine thing?
I don't know.
Well, I know you're following it closer than most.
I mean, I'm not really.
I guess not.
I mostly just listen to Tim Pool and see what he says about it.
So if you want to know anything, just listen to Tim Pool.
Well, that's always been true.
The guy
Tim Pool reads the newspapers, so he knows what he's talking about.
I mean, you realize you could also read the newspaper direct.
Well, but look, I realized that, and I could have done that back in the day, but instead I chose to listen to Rush Limbaugh read the newspaper.
Rush Limbaugh with talent on loan from God.
In front of the golden EIB microphone.
Mm-hmm. God, what a beautiful microphone it was, too.
Yeah, it's too bad you're breaking up again, so we can't hear that beautiful voice.
Well, I see again. I sound fine here. It must be another Comcast issue. Now, if we were using Clean Feed, there would be a little thing you could open up that says what the jitter is, what the packet loss is, what the time between us is. But you keep wanting to use this little Zencaster bullshit.
It's better, yeah.
It's not better. It's got nothing. It's got nada.
It's absolutely better.
It's not giving us any information whatsoever that says, danger, Will Robinson.
Well, knowing that your voice is losing packets and hearing that your voice is losing packets amount to the same thing.
But you're not losing any on my end yet, so it's
That's
weird.
Because I have good connectivity.
I don't know. That doesn't make a difference.
I'm in Austin, Texas, you see. This is really the central hub of all the different backbones that are connected to the United States are coming from here.
I mean, it's disconnected again. What doesn't make sense is I have a constant ping going to...
Oh, my God. Leave it off. Who gives a shit? Just ignore it.
The NAS, and it's there. You know, it's to the stream.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Well, how about we do a podcast instead of a stream show?
But we're doing both.
Yeah. Well, now let's just focus on the one that works.
Which is neither one.
Oh, you're not recording anymore? I'm recording.
I'm like, oh, wait, I was supposed to record this thing?
Oh, okay.
Damn.
I see where we are.
It's humor, man. Come on.
I mean, you don't have to. Honestly, I not much would change. I would still talk to you once a week about the same topics.
You would still be talking. I'd still be listening. It's just, it's an oddity. Because, really, otherwise I would have been like, well, our connection's solid.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having any issue with you. But
no, it only seems to start getting fucked up when you're having issues with the No Agenda chat thing.
Well, that's just when they say it's not where I've never lost the No Agenda chat. It's just in the server, which again, let's just hope the servers are good come Sunday. Otherwise, that's the main thing. Well, we'll see because Adam will be on today. Sunday? Adam will be on today for the other podcasting 2.0. So if there are issues, we'll find out if it's stream-wise or if this is just us having issues.
So does Adam listen to this show, do you think?
Sometimes I think. Every now and then he'll make a comment that leads me to believe maybe, but it's hard to say.
Okay.
I mean, this is some great content, isn't it? It
is. It's the best content out there. This is literally a show about nothing.
The show about nothing.
Yeah. No, we are the Seinfeld of podcasts.
Well, give me a show about something. What do you got?
Well, I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
Anything. Not eBay.
Not eBay?
Anything but eBay.
We already covered eBay.
Yeah, we've covered eBay. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm doing a nice speed test. I'm getting 870 megabits per second down, man.
That's not bad. What are you getting up?
I'm waiting for that thing to start.
Like 1.
That may be the issue if there's a problem with the
You've
upload
got some
speed.
asymmetricity.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that Comcast is really pushing is the
Asymmetric?
ability to go, to equalize the speeds up and down.
Yeah, a lot of them are doing that.
They're trying to push that, I think, by the end of this year and then into next year. They've been testing some stuff that is absolutely crazy speeds. But no, upload looks fine. I mean, I may be breaking up because it's doing the upload test, but I'm getting the 40 megabits per second up.
Wait, you have 40 up and 800 down?
Well, I mean, it's really a little over a gig down, but the hardware I have isn't really going to be pulling the full and the antivirus and all that. You're never pulling the full gig down. Did we lose you now?
What does that have to do with anything?
What do you mean? With the modem and the router and the hardware? How that all
What's the
works?
antivirus got to do with your speed?
Because it looks at everything coming in.
Well, don't do that.
Well, you could, but it's like, what's it slowing it down a little bit? Doesn't matter.
Why would you look at everything coming in through
This is
a
how
virus?
you avoid getting viruses on your old machine.
No. How you avoid getting viruses is not going to websites with viruses.
Well, that's no fun.
Did John not teach you anything?
That's no fun. No. Why would I want that?
That's right. I forget. You don't actually pay for movies, do you?
I don't really watch movies, but rarely. I have a lot of music. I have.
What are you talking about? TV shows, though.
I have a lot of television shows. Yeah. I have my own NAS,
TV
so that
shows,
way when
whatever.
things go down, then I have my own TV. It's great. You don't have to worry about that. When Comcast was down for like 5 hours last week.
No, that's it. And then good thing that Chicago is not on the list of one of the 12 cities to be nuked first.
Probably is. But I'm, 3 feet underground, so I'll be safe, right?
Yes, 3 feet underground is better than 0 feet underground. That's true.
This is true. Don't worry about the nukes. Do not worry about the nukes.
Do you have a door on the basement?
No, I
or
should.
Just the stairs?
I should, yeah. I mean,
you may want to put a door in there.
I remember watching years ago, and I was just mesmerized by a guy who just started digging like under his basement and then just kept digging and digging and digging until he had like a lair underneath, like 20 feet under the house. And it's like a little weird, but now you're like, hey, that's not a bad idea.
I just saw a story the other day on the house in Texas that has a cave under it.
Now, a natural cave that was there?
A natural cave that was discovered, like a cave that covers maybe a couple city blocks, but the entrance to it is underneath this guy's house.
And that's the only entrance.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? It's got stalagmites, stalactites, all kinds of stuff. So it's got a real bat cave.
Well, you can age your cheese down there. It's a great place to keep your wine.
Wine, cheese, all the good stuff. Mushrooms.
It's absolutely perfect.
I mean, who wouldn't want a bat cave underneath their house?
I always wanted. I was always just also mesmerized again. I needed the Thorath with the hidden rooms in a house or hidden passageways.
Oh, yeah.
Never had a house that had that, but I always thought that would just be so cool.
It is cool. Yes, there's. So I was at the event that I was at last week. I think I told you, right?
You were at an event last week.
Yeah, I told you that last time we talked on Monday.
Oh, that's true. What was it for?
That's why we couldn't do it on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was a castle, and one of the cool things is that there's like a bookcase that if you move the bookcase, there's a secret room behind there.
Now, was it just like you have to move one book, or was it like one of those magical?
No,
the whole bookcase.
That shit is unreal.
I know.
You have to move the bookcase. So you have to. Basically, it looks like a whole bunch of bookcases, right? A whole wall of bookcases,
and you have a door.
One of them is actually open. It's a real bookcase with real books.
Yes,
no fake books anywhere, but it's on wheels, so you can actually, pivot it open, and then there's a door with a key code. If you punch in,
that's even cooler that you open up it's not just like you get behind the bookcase and you're in the room. It's like, and then there's a door.
Yeah, with a key code, and the code is my birthday.
Oh, Was it your castle? How did you know the code was your birthday?
Well, it is. The code just happens to be my birthday. And then
Are you royalty, Gene? Was this in Russia?
I am Sir Gene, after all.
Did you fly back to Moscow for this?
And then that lets you into the secret room, which has, oh boy,
Does the
I don't even know how many
include the year.
Is somebody asking?
I was just curious. I mean, that's
It does not include the year, no.
Okay, so a 4-digit code.
4-digit code, yes. So easy enough to try every combination.
But I remember I was looking at these for a while to use in the basement, because we have a basement that is like 2/3 finished and the other third is storage with the washer and dryer and that.
Yep.
And the thing connecting the two sides is a normal closet. So it's like, 2 closet doors closing.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell bookcases like that go in and look like a book. So again, it's like, well, it's no big deal, because if you're down there and the air conditioning kicks on, you'll be able to hear it. There's something behind the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But still always thought that would be a really cool way to...
Do you have an air conditioner behind the wall in the house?
Well, the furnace.
Oh, the furnace.
Where the blower is.
Sure. Yeah.
The actual air conditioning condenser, of course.
Well, you could also get thicker walls so you wouldn't hear it.
That's true. And I'm assuming the bookcase would hide most of the, absorb most of the noise.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the kind of stuff that's like really awesome.
Oh, it is. It is cool. No, I've enjoyed stuff like that. You should ask Adam sometime next time you talk to him to talk about some of the stories of his castle.
Well, that's true. He actually lived in a castle, and I'm assuming there were some quirks to that building.
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't want their own castle?
I mean, they're kind of a pain in the ass.
I mean, you wouldn't want to clean it or anything.
You definitely don't want to clean it. You don't really even want to maintain it.
It's kind of something like you want to go spend a month there and then get the hell out.
That's may even be too long of a time frame, but sure, yeah.
Just a vacation wise, just a couple of weeks then.
Like a castlecation.
Right. Now, if you have a castle, you can get on the Castle BNB site.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're better off being a lord of the manor.
Probably.
Because a castle is a fairly significant. I mean, the castle by definition is kind of a military house.
Well, yeah, you want to have a moat. You want to have guns on top. You want to be able to defend your land.
Yeah.
But I always thought that would be cool. Have a nice hidden passage, a hidden room.
Yeah. It is kind of neat when you have hidden passages and. Now, you're not watching the current Game of Thrones knockoff thing, right?
Now, here's a little secret. I have never even watched Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. Well,
I contemplated it. Now, are you plus or against the Game of Thrones? I mean, I was all hyped up when it was on.
The first 4 seasons were awesome, and then starting with season 5, it just started going downhill.
So the first 4 seasons,
the last season was absolute shit. So the first, I think, 5 seasons were based on the books.
And then they were like,
maybe it was the first 4 seasons, and then they ran out of book material, and so they had to just write shit from scratch, and it was horrible.
They're like, people are still wanting to pay us for more, but we need to make more.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. But I've never watched it, so I can add that to the list. I don't even think I have that on my NAS.
Well, the new one, which you can watch the new one. It's on HBO. It's called Blood and something. Blood and Dragons? I don't know.
Hey, good old Blood and something here on the mighty No Agenda stream.
So I'm sure somebody knows what it is. But
I'm sure people are watching it. People love that stuff. It's a
prequel, which means you don't have to watch the Game of Thrones to be able to watch the prequel.
Because it should actually be what you want to watch before that, then.
Potentially, yeah. It's it is basically, I think it takes place 100 years before, maybe 150 years before, something like that. But it's just good fantasy stuff. There's dragons people ride on and a lot of politics, and that everybody looks around like they're walking around Ren Fair.
Well, that was the whole bit, wasn't it?
What, Ren Fair?
Yeah, to have that look.
Well, that's when the setting is. Yeah.
I mean, I get it. But there are people that like that. They just walk around like that up and down the street. Like the guy on January 6th. He was like, I'm a Game of Thrones dude.
I mean, I did get married at Renfest.
I know, I've heard that story.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoy that. I think that there's something very fun about Ren fairs. Part of it, of course, has to do with the fact that everybody's inebriated.
Well, yes, and they're embracing another time. Allegedly, now, to be a true aficionado, though, if you're at a Ren fair and somebody pulls out a cell phone, you have to punch them right in their mouth, right? I mean, that's...
Well, okay. Back in the day, back in the 90s, let's say, up through the early 2000s probably would be the latest, cell phones and even things like digital watches were officially to be made fun of.
Yes,
and those people they do not belong, and people would be effectively shamed into putting them away.
What strange object is this on your wrist?
Exactly. And the last thing you need is some drunk dude dressed in Middle Ages garb to be talking loudly at you, embarrassing the hell out of you. Well, yeah, it's like, a witch.
We thus stone thou.
Seize the witch. Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing. By the late 2000s, like 2008, 9, 10, when I went to a number of them,
people are just walking around with their cell phones.
Everybody's walking around with freaking cell phones. No one gives a shit. They're taking credit cards for selling soup in a bowl, in the bread bowl. I mean, it's just like it really has gotten to be more of a commercial enterprise, which it always kind of was, but more so than, like you have ye old cell phone charging stations.
Right, because that makes perfect sense at a Ren fair. You're like, we're gonna mix reality with the concept.
It's gotten very anachronistic. Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing is the people that originally started these, I'm assuming, was because they wanted the main draw was not the clothing or the language. It was that time period overall. And if something didn't exist in that time period.
I mean, it was a whole pack. Like, I've been going to these since the 70s, honestly. So
when you were 40 in the 70s or so?
It was just an extension of the 70s peace and love movement, frankly. But
it's much harder to get laid when you're wearing chainmail.
It's really easy to get laid when you're wearing chainmail. It's really fucking easy, man. When the guests leave and the alcohol consumption continues, it basically is just one big orgy. Anywhere you walk around in that Ren fair, all you hear is orgy noises.
I am so glad I've never been to a Ren fair.
Oh my God. You've never been to an orgy? Oh my God. That's so sad.
No.
It's so sad for you.
I'm a Catholic high school boy.
Yeah, so you'd fit right in. So
where do you think they're having the orgies?
Catholics are the most perverted people.
Well, they're repressed. So
that's why. That's exactly why.
It's like the Amish when they let their kids go off on Rumspringa.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
go experience the world.
Again. But yeah.
I understand why like half of those kids come back.
Don't come back.
Well, okay, both. I understand one. I understand the half that never come back. And I also understand the half that come back going, oh my God, you won't believe what the outside world is like. Mm-hmm. I get both.
There are
no judgment either.
Speaking of cell phones and the Amish, I didn't realize the Amish had fucking cell phones, but more and more so, I've noticed the Amish have cell phones.
There are different sects. I don't know. I believe that's the right term.
I think you're correct. Yes.
And I noticed that there's a guy on YouTube. I know you've watched his videos. Peter Santangelo, is it?
Yes. Yeah. He's a California dude who travels and invades different cultures.
He went to the Amish community down in Florida, which is the same Amish community that was a part of the area where for years when we went down there, these were where the best restaurants were. There's a little row. And this was the community that is built up around there. So for me, it was really interesting seeing
the Florida German. Yes.
Yes. And he even went in and, had a piece of pie in the restaurant. And I'm like, hey, Mrs. Yoder's, man, in Sarasota. If you want the best damn pie in the world, I've never found better. But he went in and there is the Amish and there's the what's the other? They're not Amish, but they're close to Amish. Now I'm not thinking of the name, but there's different groups, and some are allowed the technology. The most interesting thing to me was there's, of course, the Amish that are completely against even having power in the house.
Yeah, I think it's the old order.
And the newer ones will allow cell phones, but the ones that did, they had...
I think the Mennonites allow more technology.
Yes. And they had an app that basically stripped away most of the smartphone's abilities, so they could still text and call.
The Hasidic Jews do the same thing.
And the most interesting thing to me was that most of the people that had cell phones that were married, the whole deal was their spouse runs their cell phone.
Yeah,
which is like, so there could be no secrets. They can tell you what you can do or what you can't. And it's like, it seems like a really weird idea until you think about it and you go, well, I can see why they get along a lot better than a lot of people. It seemed odd, but it seemed odd to me that there were Amish that were using cell phones.
Yeah. Because I think the Mennonites and then I think the beachy Amish are more of the relaxed variety.
Yes, and that was a guy's name.
They drive cars.
What do you mean beachy Amish? Like, do you like to go to the beach? No, it was a guy's name who started this particular offshoot.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, seeing somebody dressed in an Amish garb talking on a cell phone just looks weird to me.
Well, yeah. Because you're like, no, this is like going to the Ren Fair and somebody having a cell phone.
Yeah, it's probably even more surprising than that, but
it was
I don't know, it's unavoidable. I took what's his face to Ren Fair.
Good old what's his face?
Brian Brushwood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first time he's ever went. I took him out to Ren Fair,
and he won't return your calls now. Wow.
Well, no, we had lunch a couple days ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
When's his new project coming out? Not that I want to totally derail your story.
Oh, yeah. It's coming out soon. He's working on it.
Awesome.
He kind of told me about it, but I can't tell anybody about it.
Well, yeah, of course, because it would ruin everything. Spoilers, Gene.
Spoilers, exactly. So if you lean real close, I'll whisper it real quiet. No, I'm not going to do that. No, Brian would. So, yeah. And then I told him, hey, dude, what's the deal? Like, you've been avoiding me. He's like, oh, yeah, no, I've been super busy and haven't been making any money on YouTube. So I'm trying to figure out new ways to make some money.
Well, that's
so apparently YouTube has cut their rates again.
Okay, that I believe. Because he's got a lot of content on YouTube, but I have noticed that it's less now.
He's got like millions of subscribers.
Oh, yeah. And he does different, there are
almost
different
like
channels.
Us.
Oh, close.
Very close.
He's got the Modern Rogue. He's got Scam School. He's got like Scam Nation. There's different
the podcast for the biggest heist scam things, whatever.
Whatever
it's called. Yeah.
Now that
so I'll have him on one of the shows probably through Gene, and then he once again said we should get you on one of my shows, and then. But he said that like 3 times over the last 3 years, and I've never been on any of his shows. So
he's like, we will put an apple on your head and shoot it off with a crossbow.
That'd be fine. I'm okay with that.
In the Ren Fair
as long as I'm doing the shooting.
Right. No, that's the way to do it there. But with the Amish stuff, there's always a loophole because that restaurant in Sarasota that we always went to for years, they didn't take credit cards because they're Amish. So they didn't believe in taking credit cards.
Sure. Good plan.
But right next to the cash register,
ATM.
They were more than happy to let you take your money out of the machine.
We have those here too. They're not even the Amish. We have a barbecue place.
We have a Mexican place like that
called Salt Lick.
And I get it. They only want cash.
Yeah, which is a really large place. I mean, it seats hundreds of people, but they have an ATM machine instead of taking credit cards. They also don't sell alcohol. But it's BYOB, which is not that uncommon in Texas. But they have a liquor store about 25 feet away.
And if they own that, and it's overpriced liquor.
Yeah, they own that. They own that, but it's a liquor store rather than the restaurant having a liquor license.
Right.
So I explain that to me. I'm not sure how one is cheaper or better than the other, but clearly somebody's decided that, screw it, we're not getting a liquor license. But we will open up a liquor store.
Yeah, another loophole.
Uh-huh.
I love it. I love the ingenuity.
Yeah. Ingenuitous people that are talking on their cell phones while driving in buggies.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, there was a YouTube video that somebody was.
I wonder if solar power. Sorry to interrupt you, but I wonder if solar power is allowed in Amish shit, because then you're not plugged into the grid. You're not,
Well, batteries are still technology.
Are they though?
I think, because I know there was maybe it was,
or are they just gifts from God?
It could be. Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think it was talking to an Amish. It was like, no, maybe it was. One of the other YouTube guys where it's like, no, they have, NASCAR stickers on their buggies and they sneak in because the buggies, for some reason, they're allowed to have the 12-volt car battery in the buggies because by law,
lights.
You have to have the lights. Right.
Yeah, you do.
And the kids were sneaking the batteries in to play like portable TVs and stuff. It's like, this is really an interesting. It's like, wait, so you can use the battery. It's okay to use the battery on the buggy because to comply with the law, I guess you have to. So it's okay to use the technology. Then it's just intriguing to me what rules are followed.
But I wonder if they can put a solar charger on the roof of the buggy.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Then you never have to. I mean, I could see good arguments for that. You'd never have to plug in and charge it because, you have no place to plug it in.
Well, right. We don't have electricity. So how do we charge said battery? Well, this then becomes a business for some enterprising soul in the area that's like, I'm not Amish. I can plug a cord into the wall. I can charge you a lot of money.
It's kind of like the timers for the elevators that are in New York.
Right, because they can't press
on the Sabbath, go up and down by themselves. And I've talked to a few rabbis about this, that it's been like the finer points of what you're allowed and not allowed to do on the Sabbath, because I was trying to come up with ways around it.
You're always looking for the loophole.
Of course, that's what I do. And so the brilliant idea that somebody came up with is like, well, if the elevators are going to be moving from floor to floor anyway, would it be okay on the Sabbath to just walk into an elevator and then walk out on a different floor?
That would seem fair. Because,
the first thought, of course, and the thing that used to be the case was you had elevator attendants who were Goy, right? So they're not Jewish. So they're not bound by the same restrictions. But then the idea is like, well, but if you're paying them, then they're kind of an extension of what you would be doing. So that's not allowed. And, but this idea of an elevator that automatically just, so here's where I'm going with this whole thing, because I could talk about this for a long time, is it seems like the more technology you can, and automation and AI you can apply to the restrictions on the Sabbath, the less restrictions there are.
Because you're not physically interacting with it.
Because you're not doing it, and no human is doing it on your behalf. So you started elevators. Well, what about Tesla self-driving cars? So if you're not driving the car and the car is just driving itself, then all of a sudden the prohibition on technology on the Sabbath just kind of becomes a lot less of a thing. And I think that can go into, virtually any restrictions you can come up with. There's got to be a way to automate it enough to be able to not worry about it, which the whole point of the Sabbath was to give you the freedom from doing the day-to-day normal things that you had to do, like taking elevators and driving cars, so that you can focus on the spiritual matters, on God, on worship, on your family.
So you're not supposed to be looking for the loophole.
The goal is to remove distraction. But the practical application is a list of things you can't do. And if you have that list, then somebody with a personality like mine is like, okay, well, how do we work around that shit so that you can end up still doing all the things? Now, and I'm not like practicing Jew or anything, but I do have friends that are a lot more Orthodox, conservative, and practicing. And so I love coming up with, ideas or questions or ways to get around stuff. And one time when I was living in Dallas years ago, I had done a video project for a rabbi, and the rabbi is like, you should come to my house for dinner. I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And little did I realize that that's actually a trap.
Were they trying to
because
hunt you down or what?
Because no, the way it works is like before the dinner day is like, oh yeah, let's meet at the temple for service, and then we'll walk down to my house for dinner. And I'm like, all right, well, this was annoying.
Gene's like, I don't like to walk anywhere.
I don't really like to walk anywhere, so I'm like, okay. But I mean, I know why he's walking is because the sun is going to set after the service, and so you can't drive. So
you just like his Uber?
No, I couldn't drive either because I'm trying to be, polite. But I go to dinner at his house, and boy, does this rabbi like to drink? Holy shit! He's like drinking down vodka. I'm like, oh man, hard stuff right off the bat. I was thinking it's going to be Manischewitz or something, but no, it's vodka. And in the conversation, we're talking about like, okay, Sabbath restrictions, blah, blah, blah. And I started asking him a bunch of questions like, well, what about this? What about that? And he's like, I have some idea, but if you really want to get a good answer, you should come to our study group because
that sounds like a trap.
Right. Exactly. But but me, I like conversation. I like to explore things through arguments. And so this sounds kind of fascinating. He's like, yeah, we're going to have a bunch of rabbis there, and some of them are going to be, I'm sure, better equipped to answer your questions. And I'm like, okay, I'll take you up on that. So I come out to the study group on Wednesday evening. And, as it turned out, what the study group is the Dallas Rabbinical Association study group. Basically, rabbis from different synagogues all getting together.
And you.
And me. Right, exactly.
Rabbi Gene.
As it turned out to be, yeah. Because, I didn't want to stand out or look like I'm a schmuck.
So you went the stolen valor route and became a rabbi instantaneously. That should make sense.
Kind of. What I did do is I did wear a suit, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, they're all going to be wearing suits. I don't want to stand out and not wear a suit. And so I had to take off the tracksuit and put on a suit. And as it turned out, and I also had so it's a nice black suit, white shirt, black hat. Get there, and it
was the uniform of the day.
It kind of was. It's like, oh, how you doing tonight, Rabbi? It's good to see you here. And here's the other thing I discovered is in Dallas, at least, now would not be true in New York. In Dallas, I looked more like a rabbi than 95% of the rabbis that were there. My beard was longer and fuller. My eyebrows were the appropriate eyebrow type.
But could you pound vodka like a pro?
Like a rabbi, I could pound the vodka like a rabbi, and so it was I could also read Russian, which was like a rare thing for these all these modern rabbis. Even though a lot of the the Jewish immigrants back in the day came from Russia, so they all spoke Russian. So it was quite interesting. So it was more like when I started talking to people, and like, oh, I thought you were like some visiting rabbi from out in the old country, and so
from the country that no longer exists.
one of the countries that no longer exists. Yeah, exactly. So it was a fun experience, but I did have fun debating because I do like that.
I mean, the question is, were you in a black Cadillac when you got out? You said we're on a mission from God.
Well, I was dressed very much like the Blues Brothers, but I guess the Blues Brothers just dress like rabbis. So, there's that. I know I was not in a black Cadillac, but a few of the rabbis were in black Cadillacs. So that is kind of funny. Was that a Ford? It wasn't a Cadillac.
Yeah, because it was an ex-police car. I was just making a different.
Yeah. I was going to say,
the Blues Mobile.
So I ended up going to that study group for about 8 months.
Wow, so you dug what was going on here.
Well, I tried to explain.
Or you were bored.
There's a lot of errors in the Bible, right?
Trying to correct
in the Torah. So I was going through and trying to explain these errors and correct the rabbis because I figured that would be the appropriate thing to do.
I'm surprised.
How often are you going to get an audience of 30 plus rabbis?
Let me talk to you about your religion and why it's totally wrong.
Well, it's not completely wrong, but let me just point out the errors that are in here and make sure that you understand. Sometimes people have a hard time understanding religious writing, and I felt like it was my duty as an atheist to be able to help
explain that to them, right?
Help the rabbis understand Judaism.
Just trying to do a human service.
I'm really just mostly all about human service.
That was very nice of you.
I know. I thought so.
I mean, did you leave on your own accord, or after 8 months were they finally like, Gene,
well, there's a little bit of a pogrom happening, and they chased me out of town with torches, but I feel like it was a mutual decision.
Yeah. Bubala, you can no longer come. No good.
No good.
No good.
I'll see you on Wednesday.
How it works. That is how it works.
Yeah. So I had to leave town and move to Austin, but that's all good.
It's only a matter of time before you're run out of town there, too.
I did apply to the synagogue here. They didn't want me, apparently.
The next move, we don't know which way it'll be. Probably south over the border.
Oh, it will be.
There's so many people coming north over the border.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I'll actually be there in about a week and a half.
Oh, going back to Mexico.
Going back to Mexico.
That's why,
indeed,
when this show is a value for value show, for me, it's paying for my dental work. For Gene, it's paying to get him over the border.
That's a good point. And it's going to take probably another 26 years of episodes to pay for one airline ticket. But yes.
Yeah, coach. It might just be the cost of if we can get you into a large suitcase and get you on the plane. We do have two people to thank for. Well, I'm going to ask you. We have at least one person to thank for today.
Okay.
And our buddy Josh Mandel coming in with 12.34. Says unrelenting.
This is a different Josh. You know that?
Yes, not Joshua the historian. This is Josh Mandel, who was also you got him confused the last time.
I did get him confused because I figured there's only one Josh that could possibly listen to
listening to the show. He says, for unrelenting, tell Gene his universal basic income has arrived. So there's that.
Nice. And how much did he donate?
12.34. 1234.
Oh, wow. That is basic income.
Now, Sir Truck Driver, this is the one I wanted to ask you about because he came in with a $25 spray and pray donation, which he likes to do for my shows. And he says, apply as you see fit. Keep up the good work. So out of the 25, do you want the 5 that would normally go to Unrelenting, or would you like to just pass on that one?
What? What do you mean?
Well, he sent in $25 for all of my shows and said,
for all your shows. You're splitting it 5 ways. Got it.
And I wasn't sure if you wanted this.
But does he listen to this show or not? Because that's the question.
I think he does because he's out there on the road.
Then take the $5 out then. No, I think, it's not a hard question. If somebody says, here, I like your stuff. Which of my stuff do you like?
Right.
That's the follow-up question.
I really like your stuff.
Because otherwise you could just say, well, clearly what he really likes.
It's a rock and roll pre-show, and that's all.
No.
Random thoughts,
that's another one. I was going to say random thoughts, but it's like, thanks for the random thoughts donation there.
We appreciate the big donations across all the shows.
ultimately, we want the same thing that I want on all these shows now, which is
advertising.
Tell somebody else about it.
Yes.
Get more listeners. That's the biggest thing you can do, is just tell people that you enjoy listening to the show about nothing.
It's okay if you don't
and
enjoy
they should
it. Just
as well.
tell them you enjoy it.
Well, that's why I just said, yeah, don't.
That's the marketing aspect.
I don't care what you actually, but if you tell them that you enjoy it, that's the important part. And then the second thing, and this is, I know a lot fewer people will do because it requires more effort. Leave a freaking review on either Google or Apple, because whenever you go on a podcast in those two companies, in their podcasting sections, you can actually leave a review and talk about how this show is literally the Seinfeld of podcasting. And I promise, if enough people say that, then y'all won't have to donate any money ever, because there'll be new people donating money who think this is hilarious.
If you say that enough, we're going to get sued by Jerry Seinfeld. Well,
that might be just the kind of notoriety that we need to get big.
That is true.
Imagine how many people would want to check out the show that's the Seinfeld of podcasting.
Yeah. We need an Elaine. We need, well, I mean, you said you were more like Costanza. I mean, I was thinking more like Newman, but, I mean, I'll go along with
Fuck you. I'm more like Jerry. I am Jerry. God damn it.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he was the kind that would impersonate a rabbi and go for a bunch of class. You're right. No, wait, that is more Costanza now that I think about it.
George pretended to be a different religion.
Well, he converted.
To get a chick. Yes, he converted. Yeah.
What was that? He was something.
It was
Latvian
some weird
Latvian Orthodox.
Yes, Latvian Orthodox.
If there are anybody out there who happens to be Latvian Orthodox, please.
There's no such thing. There's literally no such thing.
But if it was on that show, it's got to be real now, which means somebody has started the Latvian Orthodox Church.
Oh God. Anyway, so yeah, look, money donations are always good. They make Darren smile because he lives in the basement and he doesn't get out much.
True. I mean, I have to go to the dentist every couple of weeks.
Every couple of weeks? Oh my God, what are you eating?
Well, that's how this root canal thing was going on. It's like, okay, come on in, and then they do the root canal.
Why would you go for a couple of weeks? That's nuts.
Because the root canal was the first appointment. The second appointment was fitting the crown and then putting a temporary crown on. And in 2 weeks from that is the real crown will be there, so they can put that one.
Now, how much was your crown?
The second appointment after the insurance was like $460, and the first one was like $160. So far, we're a little over 600 into this, which if there was no insurance would be like well over $3,000.
So I had a crown done about a year ago.
Was it a human
during
crown?
COVID. Was it a human crown? I don't know. It's for my tooth. And it was $599 with no insurance.
That doesn't seem right. Of course, there was no root canal.
No root canal. No, I've had a root canal done once, and in the process of doing the root canal, the dentist discovered there was a crack in the tooth, and therefore it would not hold up for very long, and so we just stopped to yank it out.
But that would make sense, because I think that is the majority of the cost of the whole package
probably.
Is the root canal procedure.
I mean, it's really basically just drilling in your tooth and then putting in a little bit of plastic in there to seal it up.
Yeah, pulling out you have to get every last bit of the root out, and then you have to make sure those canals are big enough for whatever gunk, like you said, plastic, whatever they're pouring in there.
Yeah,
to fit, because you don't want to leave empty space in there.
It is plastic because it has to shrink and expand with heat. Because if it doesn't expand or shrink, then your tooth would like blow up.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Not really. I mean, you wouldn't feel anything because you don't have a root in there that's live. But it would not be fun when take a drink of cold soda and your tooth goes
explodes in your mouth.
Shatters into a bunch of little pieces of tooth.
I would like to avoid that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think once you but either way, you do realize once you have a root canal, you got about 10 years before the tooth falls out.
Probably.
Because they don't last without a nerve. So either you yank it out ASAP or you pay somebody a few $1,000 and then yank it out 10 years later.
Yank it, crank it, don't wake me up and think it.
And honestly, you may be, this is more expensive even, but it may be better off just to forget the root canal, just yank the tooth, and then get an implant. Implants are way better than real teeth anyway.
Hey, then you could chew through steel.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tune in next time to find out more on Unrelenting.
You could also get a diamond tooth.
Ooh. Now you sound like a Bond villain. Good old diamond tooth.
Hey, speaking of Bond villains, I hope y'all have been enjoying my cat videos that I've been posting.
There have been cat videos? Where?
On No Agenda Social.
What is that? No Agenda Social.
It's this thing that I believe is still open. Maybe it's full up already.
No, it is.
You think it's full?
They're still taking
still open. Still
you have to answer some questions, though. You have to be a No Agenda fan.
You have to be a No Agenda fan, and you have to be a listener of this show.
Or you have to have somebody that can tell you the answers to the questions.
And you have to subscribe to Darren and my profiles on there.
Of course.
It's a requirement if you join.
And then donate, boost, fun stuff.
You've got about a quarter that are on No Agenda Socials that are following you.
Yeah, you were breaking up a little there, but I think we finally, I know we've surpassed Dame Jennifer, so I think we probably are second only to John and Adam on there.
By we, you mean you?
Yes. Yeah, not you. People don't like
I'm
you.
I'm not that far along, but I think I'm pretty damn close. I don't think there are many people between you and me in terms of number of followers.
I'll make a post. Please, everybody, follow Gene. Say hi.
That'd be a good post.
Listen to a dude named Ben with Gene.
No, I don't care about that, but
listen to
definitely.
Unrelenting.
Yeah, we'll have the new show up soon. It's still almost ready.
Buy some prepper goods and come back next Friday and listen to us right here on a stream that hopefully won't be failing like it has been today. With that, we're out.